Anyway, with that, I'm going to introduce Clark. I'm going to let him introduce himself because I really am feeling woozy.
You are?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go on.
No, I thought that was great. Ready to pull my leg.
No. And then he will introduce our guest.
Well, hi, my name is Clark Hagan. I'm a board member here. I'm a native Coloradan. I lived in Nashville for about 10 years and moved back here. I won a Grammy in 1996 with Chet Atkins. You've probably heard the song on television. It's the Esurance commercial theme song. Most people don't even know that's Chet Atkins, which is kind of funny, but that's kind of the way it goes. But anyways, I'm here tonight to try to help bring this all together. It was an important thing for me to become a board member of this because I really felt that a lot of our musicians here in Colorado are uneducated as far as some of the music business tactics that go on into our big cities as far as LA, New York, and Nashville. So it's kind of a big part of me to try to become a part of the team here and help give as much information, education to help us make better music and everything, and give you guys a better shot at making it, or pitching your songs, or making music, or making records, and so forth for that. I'm a producer, songwriter, engineer myself too. I do not own a studio. I think that's the worst thing you can do because it's hard to keep up with all the gear and everything like that. So I'm an independent. I'm probably one of the few in this town because it's very difficult in this town to be an independent guy and not have a studio. Like in Nashville, where most places they have studios and they're looking for independent guys to use their place. So a little bit different business aspect here as far as Colorado thing. And so I'm really excited here tonight that we have Leigh West, Mr. Zac Fay. They have a great company coming out this year to really help us as musicians to help promote ourselves, help to figure out who our target audience is, and really help us. Zac has been a musician, has played around a lot of places. And Leigh is a famous songwriter in my book, right? But they both have been around the industry a lot, and they have some great ideas to help us with how we can brand our music. One thing I was talking about with Zac a little bit earlier today is it's amazing how now as artists, it's upon ourselves to come up with ways to promote ourselves. Since we're no longer trying to get a record deal, or I try to tell people when they're like, "Oh, record companies are bad." I'm like, they're the guys that won't need the money to make the great product and try to go out and sell it. And when it doesn't sell, a lot of times they don't hold you responsible for it. It depends on your contract. But a lot of times, how do we go and get money from an investor when they want to see a return on their investment? And I feel a lot of things that we're fighting against right now is our audience now feels music should be free. They don't want to pay for it as much anymore. So it becomes a lot harder for us to put out a product and go, "Hey, look how this is great," and it's only $10 or whatever. And it's hard. I think that becomes an important part of why we need companies like what these two do here. Exactly is the name, right?
Exactly Brand.
Exactly Brand, which is to help us, promote our target audience, to get out there, get our product out there. How can we sell? How do we get in front of our customers that we can sell to, even try to help us build a big fan base, and that's a big thing I feel like that's important. I feel here I have some frustrations in a lot of ways because here locally we don't have some kind of the same tools that they do in Nashville and LA a lot of times, and we don't know that because we don't get to see it. There's not really one studio in this state that's comparable to an Ace studio in Nashville. And that's probably why we don't get the rates that they sometimes do in Nashville or whatever in a lot of ways. But it costs a lot of money to build out acoustics and to have all the gear and everything. And that's why I say I don't want to go to the studio business. It costs too much money. It's easier being a songwriter, right? Right. So anyways, I think it's a great opportunity that you guys come in. Thank you so much because this is such a big part of what I feel like for us to be musicians, be successful out of Colorado and everything. These are the kind of tools we need to help us promote our stuff, to get our product in front of people's eyes, that they can actually maybe buy it, and we can make a living out of it. So without further ado, I introduce Miss Leigh and Mr. Zac.
That was a great introduction. I'll give you a little bit more detail about my background. So I was a nationally ranked classical composer way back in the day. I ended up going to college for film production. I ended up getting a job at funnyordie.com, which is Will Ferrell's company. I worked as the assistant to the head of production there, so that I learned so much. But one of my main reasons for wanting to get into film was to learn how music gets into film firsthand. And I did. So after Funny or Die, I ended up moving back to Colorado. I did work for other publishers. I ended up starting my own publishing company, West Allen LLC. Did get some placements there, but I also learned a lot pitching to music supervisors about what was making it and what wasn't, and why. So there was a lot of frustration there for me, but also like a huge learning opportunity, which helped, I think, shape my realization that something like our company, Exactly Brand, needs to happen, especially here in Denver with so many amazing, talented artists. But yeah, I still am a singer-songwriter. It's my passion, it will always be. And oh, when I came back here to Colorado, I did start Colorado Entertainment Television Studio Sessions, which I think is still going on today. So yeah.
That's awesome. My name is Zac. I don't know how to like.
Thanks, I really needed that.
That's nice. However, I'm in the event business, so I do a lot of events and whatnot. I run one of the larger events centers in the city, and I work one-on-one with artists. Like we just have Macy Gray, Kanye West, Jamie Foxx, like that. I work with them, and it's really great to experience how it's done on a different level. So then I moved out to LA and kind of got in talks with Sony Records and was looking at getting signed with them, and we'll get into further detail about that later. However, it's just, you know, I always felt as a musician that you needed a little bit extra, like more of a team, so that's kind of how Leigh and I came up with this, and here we are today.
So we weren't given necessarily a specific subject to talk on, so we thought we'd just talk about do's and don'ts of building your personal brands. It sounds like we have a really big mix here of different professions within the music industry, which is awesome. One of the things I'm really excited about Combo doing is they help kind of integrate a lot of different professions, and we really need that in Colorado. I feel like there's so many individual artists that kind of get stuck kind of in their own home, just writing their music by themselves, and they don't recognize that there are people that can help you right here in town. But it just takes, events like this to be able to make those connections.
I think that's a great point there, because I feel like since I moved back here, it seems like everybody wants to be a do-it-yourselfer, including myself. But it's very difficult a lot of times to try to do it yourself when you don't know the right people or the right things. I find sometimes, like with engineers here in town and stuff, that if they have just been stuck in their own home studio their whole life and they've just been doing local bands, they haven't been getting out into other studios and learning how other engineers do things. Or I always say I'm a guitar player, so I'm not afraid to steal guitar licks from other guitar players. I'm the same when it comes to recording. You might do something that I'm like, that's totally goofy, but man, it sounded cool, and I won't disregard that. I might steal that lick from you too. You never know. So I always feel that that's important too, and then we can get in an entourage like this. It's great that then you can meet different people that have different aspects to pick up on that.
Yeah.
Great. So.
And I think part of the reason why I personally, and I think a lot of other artists, have trouble working in groups is because I think a lot of times we hear horror stories about artists getting taken advantage of. I think a lot of us have probably experienced being taken advantage of. Like, have any of you been taken advantage of in the music industry?
That's how I got it.
I have. So
No comment.
I think that definitely kind of makes us nervous to just reach out and work with each other. That is a huge part of why we did this. We're both individual artists. We both want to take our careers to the next level, and we want to help other artists and other industry do that as well. We kind of view our company, Exactly Brand, as a record label without any of the strings. We don't touch your intellectual property rights. We are on a per project basis. You tell us what you need. You're the star, your vision. We're just a team to help you create your vision, to really step by step make a plan and get you to that goal. It's something we wanted for ourselves, and we started doing for each other, and then realized why don't we start doing this for other people?
Well, and it's kind of funny because, you know, she would take some of my projects that I would just shelve, right? Like, you know, forget about them, and she's like, this is really good, and kind of give me advice on how to get it out there. And it was like, how is it that you're so much better at doing mine than I am doing my own?
And
vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, sometimes just have another person behind you to say, you know what, this is great. How can we get this out in the brainstorm?
And the people that are in the music industry,
Absolutely.
not like your mom.
Yeah, right. And don't listen to your mom at all.
No.
So, but it was also like, you know, you create this great content, what's next? You know? And that's where I feel like a lot of artists jump to. Or either they just put it out there and they're like, oh, I'm so excited about a new song. I'm going to post it on Facebook, I'm going to put it on iTunes, I'm going to get it everywhere. But there was no thought of marketing. And to sell something, people like stories. So you have to have a story behind what you're trying to sell. So slow things down a little bit and plan things out. And really that's what we're here to do as well.
Yeah.
I'll create a story behind every project on guest free.
And I think the biggest problem musicians have is doing the business side of it. You know, it's like I can write the song, I can write the melodies, and I get all this stuff, but for me to actually get out there and do the business side of it and market this and publicize this and get this in the right people's hands, I think that's very difficult. As I was telling Zac, myself as a producer, I have to do that stuff, and I don't think I do it enough, you know. And I almost need a team for myself too. And I think that's the way that this really happens, because we have so much out there now. How do we differentiate between us being up here and all this other stuff being down here? And I think what your company that you do, that helps us take this to the next level. But then I can know how to market this. I know what I have, a vision, I have a game plan. I think a lot of artists that I work with, sometimes the hardest thing they have is they don't have a game plan as to what they want to do. They want to come in the studio and record their song and say, gee, that's great, now what do I do next?
Right.
And there's a bigger part of this. I think that's why your company is so important for an area like this, because I don't even think I know anybody else is doing something like that. And you guys, so cutting edge, right on.
So speaking to that point, so when I was pitching songs, and I still do, I still pitch songs to music supervisors and companies to get songs placed and things. But my passion starting that company was about getting local artists who really don't have any other outlet to get their music out there. Artists that were really talented, and presenting them to these industry people and getting them heard and getting them placed. What I realized when I was pitching to these people was I'd say a name, and immediately they'd pull out their phones and they'd look for the artist's web presence. And I was like, oh, hey, just listen to the song, like, I don't look at the pictures. Like, so, because at the time, as a publisher, my job wasn't the artist image. My job, I didn't touch any of that. I didn't help their web presence. I didn't help their fan base. And when these music supervisors or filmmakers look at that, it matters to them a lot. So, especially for filmmakers. This is an avenue that we as artists don't consider. But filmmakers, they want an artist that has a fan base, because in their mind, they're like, every song I put in my film, I want the fan base of that artist to see my film. So they're looking for avenues to advertise their film. So you need to advertise for the filmmaker just as much as the filmmaker is advertising for your music. So if you don't have a web presence, if you don't have an audience, the filmmaker is taking a bigger risk with you. So, which they can do, they definitely do. If your song's good enough, if you're related to them, you're really good in there. But yeah, but if you're a stranger, just coming in, just hoping, that's a harder, just a much harder road to go down.
Can I ask a question too? And I'm always curious to this too, is what I always try to tell artists. I feel like a lot of times when you're pitching songs to films or to whatever, backtracks or whatever, your music has to be done. It has to be mastered. It has to be, it's not just like you give their song and say, okay, we love this. Okay, I'm going to go back and remix it and I'm going to master it. It has to be done. So when you're selling it, you're like, here it is. They can take it and they can put that in the movie immediately. So I always try to tell artists that, so, you know, when we talk about you get what you pay for, when it comes to mastering and when it comes to engineering, things like that, you've got to really have this product that's standing up with everybody else's in order to be competitive with it, I think. So when you have somebody pitching it, it's sold immediately. It goes. It's not like you have to, oh, we have to redo that, or we have to go redo this and this and that. They don't want that. They want it done. Is that correct?
100%. Yeah.
Well, that kind of is like, just, you know, like, do you buy the furniture that's already put together, right? Or do you buy it in a box, take out all the screws, always have missing pieces?
The picture looks
You know what I
great.
mean? So, yeah.
I want to sign up the picture.
So you're saying we're all IKEA?
If you're going to present your stuff, you definitely want to make sure it's all put together. It's like having people come over to your house too and be like, here's my dresser and nightstand, but they're not put together. You know what I mean? Like a whole...
It needs to be presented, it needs to be palatable. Usually when people contact me for music, they're not like, oh, can you get this to me by the end of the week? No, it's like, oh my gosh, it has to be now, like I needed it yesterday. You know, it's not, there's no time. So it's always just, what do I have available now? I'll send them that. And then if I don't have anything, then I'm reaching out to people I know can get it done like in a couple hours.
I guess that's my big thing I always try to say is don't be cheap on your art, because you never know when you get the opportunity to happen that all of a sudden, someone's like, oh, I love this, and bam, well, I'm glad I spent the money on that, and I know the other ones didn't pay off, but maybe this one will. And I feel like that's a misconception sometimes as artists we have, is we're always trying to find somebody that believes in me, that they're going to fund it for me, and I don't think that that's really happening nowadays, because we have such a way to get so much art out there now. It's hard to get above that, I think, a lot of it, because there's so much out there now. Do you agree with that a little bit?
Yes, and I think you should probably talk about your son's experience.
Yeah. So I was talking to people at Sony and getting ready to be signed, and I was really excited, and told my mom, awesome. But things kind of started shifting a little bit. Like we started meeting up. They started kind of telling me how to be or how to present myself, and just kind of
in a way that he didn't want to do.
It wasn't my image. And I've been doing music since I was like 6 years old. So to be changing the way I do it, or it just felt unnatural and uncomfortable. Also, when you sign, you don't know if, okay, are you going to shelf me? Because that happens. I mean, you get shelved, and you can't record anything without, or put anything out without their permission, or sell it. And one of the biggest artists that come to mind that happened to for years was Katy Perry. I mean, she was shelved forever, in fact, kind of stolen back and go to another record label to actually be out. But they made a statement that they just didn't want her to release her, because if they did, she could be a star somewhere else. So it's like, there's also that bit of competition. So, I had to really think about it, and is this really what I want to do? Do I want to give up that part of me, my own, artistic creation? Give it to somebody else and have them tell me what to do.
They're going to release it.
Yeah. So it's one of those things, and I mean, they're not going to completely change your everything that you do, obviously, because they're there to make money, and if they see something in you that they like, they're going to try to go with what they like, But it is one of those things that it was just really kind of uncomfortable, and I'm like, I was really excited about it, and then I'm like, I don't need them. There's artists today that actually don't have record labels. They're doing just fine. Chance the Rapper, for instance. I mean, doing just fine, you know what I mean? So it's like, we just have to figure out how to be smarter as artists on our own, because we can accomplish it. We can do it.
And you can get a team behind you to do it.
Absolutely.
You just have to find.
I was going to say, that's what you guys do, right? You make sure before you get to the supervisor that the music is put together, the artist is put together the way that they're supposed to be, correct?
Yep.
Our company technically hasn't launched yet. We're kind of doing this event just to start telling people about it.
Right.
We're launching January 2019, but we are already working now with artists and with projects. So that's
Well, and it's different for each artist. Some artists are going to be different when it comes to that.
Right.
So some artists don't want to be signed at all. Other artists just want help kind of getting their music out there without having to be.
I guess it's all the same, because the supervisor is then the audience that you're presenting to at that point. Yeah. So there's always going to be one, but you guys just make sure that gap is bridged.
Yeah, and to be honest, music supervisors don't love being pitched, and neither do filmmakers. They do it because they get paid to have music pitched to them. But when you listen to like a music supervisor speaking on a panel, they're going to tell you the story about that time they discovered the artist on YouTube or through social media, or their friend discovered it on social media and told them about it. But they want the personal connection with the artist.
Right.
They don't want the artist being like, oh my gosh, please use me. Like they want to find it. That's where their joy comes from. So basically, we recognize that. We're trying to kind of cultivate that with each artist or music business to be accessible to music supervisors and filmmakers, but have that discovery happen on a more genuine level.
Right.
So that they're actually in love with your music. They're not told to be in love with it.
Right.
And you do that through.
Doug, did you think it, I always feel that it's important, it's great to have a spokesman for an artist, because I think sometimes as artists we try to go talk on our own, and I don't know what we do. We put our foot in the mouth, where if we have a manager or we have somebody like you representing us, I think a lot of times it comes out more professional.
Absolutely.
So when you're actually pitching songs, if I'm a supervisor, I'm actually getting from a company like you, I'm going to take that into more realism than I would like say just a CD from you that I didn't know who you are. So I think that it's real important to have some kind of representation for you as a manager and all that. Even with your dealing with as a musician, a regular manager with all your other stuff you got to deal with.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I saw your hand up over.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just curious, so, and this is speaking to the business part of your company, so let's say someone from this group says, okay, I wanna check this out with you, so they meet with you. What are the plans, apart from like honing in on who they are? What do you do next to help
So,
push them along and image them? And like, do you have a model, or if you don't have a model, like what is?
So our first goal is to find out what your role is as the artist. We're not going to tell you who to be or what to do. It's totally artist or business driven. So if you are saying, I want to build a following, or I want to sell out this show, or I'm releasing a single and I want it to place, or I want it to chart, or you just want people to buy it. So you come to us with what your goal is. If you need
So how do you do that? I'm just curious, like how would you, let's say this person says, I want to get it on the radio, and I want to book some gigs, I want some national attention if possible, apart from local attention. What would you do?
well, that's when we go to work for you. So we start contacting the radio stations, start booking your shows. We start making it happen. Because as an artist, especially when I've toured around the country, and it's like, and I did it all myself. Yeah, I did a Pride tour, so it's like every city, and it was really kind of intense because I'm like, here I am doing it myself. I'm like, got 1,000 people calling me. You show up to one place and they don't have what you needed, and that's really what we're here to do, is to say, okay, let's be your team. Make sure that these phone calls get made. Make sure that there's follow through. I mean, I do, events on a daily basis. So
What venue do you work for?
Exto Event Center.
Okay.
Yeah. So we do. We've done Vanity Fair events, Google events, anything that you can think of. So.
But it is what we do is very custom. So it really is up to you to bring your goal to us. If you need us to help you identify that, we can do that. But then we're gonna sit down, really think about where you are right now as an artist and where you're trying to get to with your goal, and lay out the exact steps to get you there. But it is totally unique to each individual project.
So you're like helping each artist develop an individual business plan themselves. That's great. That's awesome. That's cool.
And is the price pretty reasonable?
So what we are working currently right now on a payment plan, because we know as artists as well, you've got a lot of money tied up in a lot of places. So we don't want to be like, here, we need all of your money up front. So we want to make it fair on the artists, and really just kind of make it a part of their monthly bills, so that they don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, and we can present like different options, like this is what we can do within this price point. Again, it is totally custom, because you all have totally different careers, really interesting careers too. So you all would need a very specific type of help depending on where you're trying to go with your business.
So starting off, is like consultation?
Yeah, so we offer a free consultation initially. It's also for us because we don't want to just take projects to take projects. We want to make sure we have the time to dedicate to each project, and also if we want it to be things that we truly believe in, so that, because that comes across when you're calling people on the phone. Like, we want people to hear in our voices.
We're excited.
Yeah, the we're enthusiastic.
So you guys actually got some integrity.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we both lived in LA.
Right, that's awesome.
Well, and then the other thing that we do as well is we'll take a look at social media. Any sort of social media that you have out there, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and help you create consistent
Content
put out.
It's
because
huge.
that is that's branding. If you might have a picture with your mom eating dinner. I don't know why I keep bringing up my mom. I miss her, I guess. You might have one there, and then you have another one performing. It's just really, you just need to hone in on what is your brand and what are you about.
You know, what
and
you're trying to say with each post that you make.
I mean, so it's just one of those things that we just will go through everything and really help clean up and organize all of the social media platforms that the artist has.
Now, once you clean everything up, then does the artist take over what you've done, or do you still do that for the artist?
So it depends on what they choose for us to do.
Per project.
Yeah, so, but we do also help create content. So we do studio space and whatnot, and help with campaign building, just to really make sure that, like, let's say you have an album coming out, and you're like, you really want to push this album. Well, then you got to start thinking about that before the album comes out. Maybe start hinting it. People like to kind of see things pop up, and have an idea that is maybe coming. Kind of builds a little bit of.
That's where you can drop one song, like, and then before the album comes out, they get excited.
Or even just like a picture of you in the studio, right? You don't even have to put out a video of you singing necessarily or whatever. Just.
Yeah. And one thing, like, if you're talking about getting radio play, that's something you're going to have to plan. I mean, I'm sure most of you know, but 3 to 6 months in advance. You need to start getting that to a radio station. So.
And I think it can be tricky. I took Lisa Loeb on tour for a short time for Jim Atterbury in Albuquerque, and obviously because she's Lisa Loeb, the stations like Clear Channel and stuff were willing, but I think, and I've worked in radio, I've many years in radio, and I know that music directors, it can be challenging to have them open up to playing music from local talent.
Yeah, I used to have a
Except
radio
for
show
Buck
as well.
Steen and KYGO, who's always on that one. Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Toledo, so in Detroit, so it's kind of both markets. But yeah, it can be definitely very challenging but they're also trying to promote their business as well, so it has to be good for them.
Well, yeah, and they're getting obviously a lot of push from the labels and the different,
Absolutely.
and that list is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things that, we've worked in the industry in a lot of different aspects of it, and we know how that's handled. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's one of the things is the radio is definitely a very tricky thing to maneuver and to go around.
And I agree, it's all about imaging.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, like you said, teasing it. It's all
Yeah.
about educating.
Absolutely. Look at Lady Gaga, for instance, right? Like,
So
I
look
thought
at
she was
the
an
movie
alien for
coming
like
up.
3
I
years.
mean,
I was for sure.
that looks like it.
So
Yeah.
this is one of the bands that I worked with as a publisher. Just looking, this is their album cover. Just looking at this, what do you feel that their music sounds like? Any guesses?
Madness.
Pain. Madness. What genre do you think it is? Goth.
Ambient.
Okay, let's play their song.
It's entertaining.
This is some dark circle.
This is great, but it's not at all what their album looks like.
Yeah.
That would be.
That's a branding nightmare.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
and it's
See it, say it, doesn't work there.
Yeah, it's things like that. So it's helping you identify your personal brand. It's also giving you kind of a bounce back list of when you do make a post, when you are taking a picture in the studio, bounce it off your list. Does this fit on my brand? Everything you post should be on brand, and it should be coming out steadily.
Are there some artists right now that you think are doing it right?
Billie Eilish is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the things I love about her is there aren't really any images of her outside her on-brand look. If for those of you who don't know her, she has it's like
Like a
baggy,
big baggy
it's
pants.
like baggy like sweater stuff and like a chain.
Always primary color.
Yeah.
Yeah, her hair is like just kind of undone and long and gray, but she's really young. And then her music is very soft, whispery, singer-songwriter thing, but with a hard kind of R&B beat underneath. And she's dedicated to her image. Obviously, she has a team behind her that helps her do that. There's no way she could do that by herself as a 15-year-old. That's not a reality.
Right.
Reality is artists have teams. So we have an opportunity in Colorado to become each other's teams. And that's something I think is such a possibility, but isn't something that we as Colorado musicians really are connecting with. I mean, obviously, we can do it now. We can do it here.
Can you speak to the songwriter, singer-songwriter who wants to write for other artists? How do you get into that? Because it sounds like everything's really geared towards artists right now. How do you get into writing for other artists? How is the pitch the same? Do they want you to have followers? Like,
I don't really pitch to that, so I can't really speak on that.
I mean, it's the same. It's similar because people want artists that are songwriters that have a track record of doing well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you start promoting your songwriting in a way, I mean, it's easier to promote it, hands down. So yeah, I mean, I would say yes. And it's
I mean, that's an interesting one. I mean, it depends on what you want with that. Do you just want to sell your songs to songwriters that are looking for beats or for production? You know, is that what you're looking for, or are you looking for a hit songwriter or hit singer to sing your song?
right, that more along the lines of that. Like,
If that's what you're looking for, you need someone that's directly connected to that songwriter.
And that's even writing songs that are in that genre of that. Because if I'm writing country, also I got to write a Katy Perry song.
exactly.
well, no, definitely. You're not.
So, no,
You're
but
not going
that's
to
part-
be
But
right.
that's part of it, I think, too, is when
Right.
the songwriters that we have a hard time, you know, the artists I deal with is they're writing everything for themselves, and they're not thinking about me writing a song for somebody else, a Taylor Swift song.
Oh yeah, no.
Things
You got to
like
have
that.
a process about
And
that.
then that's,
too.
I feel like, you know, really true songwriters, they're not just writing one genre, they're writing multiple
Right.
genres. You can look at Rob Thomas, you know, when he's not writing with his band, he's writing stuff with Carlos Santana that his band would never cut. And so I think that's always a thing that I think sometimes the songwriters we don't realize is I think what you're saying sometimes is, who do I want to write for? Do I want to write for Jay-Z, or do I want to write for Beyonce, or do I want to write for Toby Keith, or whatever? Then I need to do some research and grow that genre too, which I think is important too, that sometimes.
One of the things that we really do when we're in the studio, before we start writing, we'll get something in our head that we want to write, or we'll go listen to a bunch of the same genre and try to gear in on that genre. And so, yeah, it's really important that you're doing that.
Well,
But I was just curious.
yeah, well, especially with everything being on the internet, half the time a lot of your clients might not even be in the same state as you, right? So if, let's say you have like one songwriter or producer that has like this really cool picture, a great website, you have a good presence, who am I going to trust more? Somebody with that, or somebody with no website presence, or your pictures on Facebook? I mean, it's just the same thing.
Right.
Who are you going to trust more? Who looks more
More
legitimate?
credible.
No, I'm just curious.
Yeah.
And part of that too is it's not about going for the long shot, it's steps. So maybe right now you don't focus on the famous singer, that you keep that in mind, but you focus on artists. Just getting lower, you know, like local artists to sing your songs, step it up from there. Everyone's connected. So the more people that can vouch for you, the better chance you have of eventually getting into the ear of someone who is on top.
Right.
Do you think also too, part of your promotion thing is a big part, like you said earlier sometimes, I think if you have things to talk about your product, that can make the product more valuable to people, that they get interested and they want to engage with you more. And it's like sometimes if I take an artist to Nashville and recorded them, or they got some famous musicians to play with them, they use that as a promotional tool, or a tool to help them, to legitimize it, I think, in some ways, which really helps the big guns. Because I think a lot of people are like, oh, that wasn't done at home studio. Oh, wow, you used the same guy, you used Linda Ronstadt, or this and that. But then all of a sudden, oh, that legitimizes it even more, I think, sometimes, which is a big deal.
That matters to people.
Yeah.
That's like you that won a Grammy. I mean, that's for life now. You know what I mean? So right away,
How does that feel?
that's,
It was all right. I mean, I got to tell you something. It's, when you work with a guy that's been nominated for a Grammy 20 years in a row, and he's won 14 times, chances of him winning are pretty, up there. But I mean, at the time, I'll be honest, I was 26 years old. I think I probably took it for granted at first. I was like, oh, that's great and stuff. But looking back, I kind of like, man, wow. Had I only known it at that moment in time when that happened, that was
When you're nominated, when you win, are you invited to the Grammys? Or are you?
You were, and at the time, this was in 1996, so they used to only give one award away. So now they give multiple Grammys away, and I never got the award. I got like a certificate, real nice certificate. So
Oh, wow, okay.
I did something like that, but they only gave one award. But now they do give awards away, and at the time they told me, oh, $2,000 you can have an award. And I was like, I don't know, and maybe I should have done that. I don't know. And then I know the funny thing. I don't know if you're going to know this, but all the Grammy trophies are made here in Colorado in a small town up in the mountains.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Yes, the guy.
We're gonna rob them.
Yeah. And we all have Grammys.
Right.
That one will be featured.
So, which is interesting. But,
This meeting never happened, right?
Exactly.
I got to say with myself, though, man, I was surrounded by master musicians. I was surrounded by some of the best studio musicians in the United States. It was an incredible time. I cannot tell you how amazing seeing how creative those people were, that they never hear a song, they go in, they listen to the song, they chart it out, they go into the studio, 1, 2, 3, 4, and knock it out in 2 or 3 takes. There's the record. They're like, oh my God, how'd that just happen? For a bunch of hillbillies here in Tennessee, whatever. I mean, it was unbelievable, but it was just, it's a totally different level, I gotta say, with that kind of record production, making and stuff like that. So it's definitely for sure.
Well, and another thing, artists, when they first get into it, or they're, trying to get their name out there, they'll kind of jump on whatever comes their way. They're like, oh, they called me about this, and I experienced that like when I was about 18. This, promoter was like, oh, we need you for an event. And I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm so excited, totally. And it was like a rap concert, like venue, like. And I'm pop music.
Right.
I'm like super pop music.
Right.
And also, like one of my good friends actually runs the Whiskey A Go-Go in LA. So she, I could be like, hey, can I play at Whiskey? And that's a rock venue. Also, probably not a great idea for my branding. So those aren't necessarily my target audience, and that's what a lot of artists they don't really know where to go. They're just like, everybody's my listener. Everybody, I'm gonna throw it out there. Everybody's gonna love me. No, sorry. That's not how
I
this
think the
works.
message gets misconstrued though, because when you watch a video of any artist, they're telling you, oh, I did a show in the middle of, a death metal concert when there was 5 people there, and they're like, oh, you just got to go out there and you got to do it. And it's like,
strategic.
so
I mean,
unless you want to take, it's a time game. So like, if you want to move through the process faster, you can be more strategic about it.
well, that's why I think you guys are important, because you can watch YouTube and get the wrong idea.
right. Well, and what's going to be more beneficial to you?
Right.
Going and playing a concert to people that are actually listening to your music,
Right.
or people who would be like, oh, okay, there's an opener or something. You know what I mean? So it's like really, your target audience is huge, and finding out what your target audience is even more crucial to your success in the business.
Right.
So I mean, and I know my target audience, and I completely market towards that. And it's not who I am per se, but I for sure 100% market everything I have to my target audience. So everything that I create and anything that I do, I have to keep in mind, is this going to be what my audience is going to buy or going to enjoy and going to like? And at the end of the day, we all try to get into that. And our number one fan is ourselves. If you love the music that you create, you're going to love what you put out. So just what do you do? Where do you go? And that's really how you find your target audience. So it's really figuring out, yourself.
Well, it's like I feel like something like what you said was an important part. Is sometimes I feel artists are out there looking for the yes man. Who's going to tell me yes, I can do that, I'm so great, but then they lose their focus of what you just said, of what your direction is and stuff like that. I think that we do fall prey to the yes man, and then when the yes man doesn't come through and we put all this effort into it, we got nothing to show for it. I think that's becomes a problem sometimes with artists too. Then we have that trust factor, or I don't want to go to you to do my record anymore because now I bought the gear, I'm going to do it myself. Even though I have the train, I'll train myself. And there's something like the do-it-yourself kind of thing is we're holding ourselves back here a little bit in Denver, where we need a team like you guys to help us out to figure out a direction, to figure out what our goals are, to figure out who our market is and who we want to sell and pitch the stuff to. And is our art up to a parameter that we're being competitive with what's being played on the radio? Because if it's not, then who am I kidding myself? I feel I tell a lot of my songwriter friends here in Colorado that most of the people I know that had publishing deals in Nashville were getting $800 to $1,000 a song from the publisher just to demo their song, to give to producer, or to give the artist. That wasn't the thing that was cut. And I'm always like, if we can't spend that kind of money here in Colorado, I'm not even competing against a publishing demo at that point. And that's a problem I think we don't understand. And we talked a little bit about earlier in our first thing about how nowadays it seems like a video is such an important part with music now, because our audience now has to have a visual stimuli with the music going on to get it. That now that
be a video. It
right.
has to be a video that's targeted to your
Right.
audience.
Yeah.
That's
That's
gonna
one
go
thing.
like,
Yes.
has some sort of element that makes people
Yes.
want to watch it.
right,
Not
and
video
engage with
video.
it and stay engaged with it all the time. And I think that's an important part why a team like this is so important for us artists to have here, because they can help us make these clear decisions as to what direction we want to go, how do we get there, not just the guy says, oh yes, sure, yeah, so that's great, yes. And I find that a lot of the times that artists fall into the yes man syndrome, and they ultimately get nothing out of it because they made a bad decision in some ways. So,
I'd like to know your opinion. Right now, there's kind of a chatter going on, especially in the EDM crowd, a featuring versus a collaboration, this and that, or this featuring. I was just wondering, a lot of the featured artists
Are just
they
popping
want,
on.
Yeah, they want more equity
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, that's a marketing tactic.
Yeah.
So what they're doing with that is they're hoping to pull in two different fan bases
Right.
to spread across two different artists.
Right.
They're hoping to kind of share fan bases.
Sure.
more
Which
fans.
is, yeah,
Well-
I think that's a great tactic
Well,
to use.
well, they're really hung up on the semantics of the featuring, the word
Well,
featuring and the word
Here's the
I
thing
don't
I think about on this is DJs just became super huge.
Right.
They're famous now.
Right.
They've always been featured on DJs' tracks. DJs have always been creating this, but now they can actually make a living for themselves. Where they're like, I'm the artist, I'm the DJ, and now I'm gonna get the singer on my track. And opposed to years before, it would have been like the singer looking for the producer or the DJ to say, okay, I need a track, can you give me one? And then they buy it from them. But now these people are famous.
And doesn't it really matter though? Because how it's labeled doesn't mean the text gets
Right.
cut any differently, right?
Exactly.
It could
I
say
don't know,
featured or
they're-
and
A
you
lot
still,
of the, a lot of
DJ
the
still
featured
make it.
artists are like kind of campaigning for, equal share rather than just, it's something in that word feature really throws them, it's really
Yeah.
tripping them up right now, so.
I see it too.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know, normally there's, at least with all the artists that I work with and that I've repped, put a little split sheet together, and I think you should do that with every song that you work on. And especially as engineers and producers now with the, what did they just pass, the Music Modernization Act? So now you are included in that. So it's good to have a split sheet in the very beginning that just spells out
Amen.
who owns what percentage, and then make sure everyone signs off on that so it's very clear. I have not heard of featured artists getting a certain percentage. I don't think that affects it at all. I think that is just marketing.
It sounds more collaborative than,
Yeah.
I just went and sought this person out. It's like we came together and we created this and really.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Except for
all,
the
I'm all
beat,
good
right.
with
I went to my
like
first rave
this
this year.
and
You
that.
know?
Yeah.
It's like,
Which one did you say?
who was it? DJ Snake. Yeah, but it's like, you know, but he's playing Justin Bieber and everything else. So it's literally just kind of the tables that turn. Now producers and DJs are getting famous. But just, I guess, yeah.
But we have time for a couple more questions.
I want to go back to what you were talking about with the video. If you guys, if you get on with like a CD baby or a Tingo, and they say you want to monetize your videos, like so they got the music playing, but they got their their little caption saying this is CD baby, and nobody else can use it but them. Do you when you find an artist like that, you say get off that monetizing so we can make something specifically for you? Because if you even try to make something and you have it monetized by CD baby, I don't think you.
That's a different copyright.
Right.
So there's two different copyrights. Basically, there's your song itself, and then there's the master recording. So with CD Baby, basically you authorize them to distribute your master recording, and you're getting paid royalties from that, through streaming and stuff. Within your master recording is the song. So you should also be getting royalties from ASCAP, or if you belong to BMI or CSAC. That's different. And with those companies, you have to let them know where your song is being played in order to even get those royalties. So there's probably money just sitting around you could be getting, but you didn't inform your PRO about where your song is being played.
And you are the perfect example of that. I'd just like to just say what she's saying. How many artists here that we play out at Herman's Hideaway?
Yes.
And do I report to my BMI that I played my 10 original songs as well as my cover songs? Because I would get paid from the money that Herman's Hideaway has to pay BMI or ASCAP to be a board member. That's money I get as an artist being and I feel like I can't tell me Denver artists don't even know that if they just write down, oh, I'm playing here tonight, and I report it to BMI, the BMI will collect the money from them and send it to you. And
We really, I think I'm included in that. I miss that opportunity all the time because it's sometimes hard to keep track of that everywhere you're playing.
Well, and that's why I said those ISRC codes that we put in the metadata that you put into your songs are very important too, because those tag when your song gets played. And then I actually have a legitimate number that got picked, and if I don't put an ISRC code in my song, these guys can play it all the time, and I'll never know how many times I play it. I'll never get paid for it because there's no tag on it and stuff like that. So.
But there's a little bit, the other portion to that is like what I was doing, licensing songs. I license a song to a commercial or something, and they'll pay a fee for that song. And I mean, if it's a commercial, it's usually just a one-time fee, several thousand. That's different than the royalty collection. That's just licensing your song up front.
What do you know about DistroKid and their model?
I've heard really good things about DistroKid. I've heard it's kind of on the same lines as CD Baby. I personally, as an artist, have been happy with CD Baby. But then, I don't know if you guys have heard, Spotify is allowing artists to upload directly now. There's a beta program, which I think I am a part of that, but I have not explored it. But I don't know, what do you think of that? Does anyone have anything to say about that?
I think that's putting too much, I don't know, because I feel like sometimes an artist can be the worst person when they put all the stuff out there. Okay? Instead of picking out your best stuff, because I want people to engage with it and come back and want more. I hate it when artists, I put all my 20 songs out there and I'm like, oh, great, now I got to go through like 20 to find one. I don't know if I have the time for that sometimes. So.
And that's what our branding is for. It's because it's having those extra ears on somebody's music, because you might think it sounds great because we're up at 6 in the morning creating it from like 5 p.m. the next day. You know what I mean? Like, it's just crazy because I know we all kind of get in that group where we work for hours and hours, and then by the time we're done, we're like, that was the best thing ever. And then you go to listen to it a week later, and you're like, what? Who wrote this and what happened here? So it's one of the things that we do help out with, because it's, again, is it a part of your brand? Is this going to give out the image that you want?
Yeah, get you to whatever.
That's what I think is so great and important about you guys, is you're helping us find our brand or finding our image and how do we market that stuff. That is such a big deal. I think a lot of artists need help with. including producers and
Do you guys,
engineers myself.
do you guys ever sit in on sessions, or do you guys normally just bring it to us afterward?
I like to do that, you know, because it's one of those situations where you can be like, fix it right then and there. You know what I mean? And be like, okay, no. Like, you know, because a lot of times it's also intimidating to go into the studio without a team. You know, you might hire out somebody to do I can't think today. So the production,
yeah. To come in, or the engineer, and they might be like rushed for time, and that take was good enough. Like
They also don't necessarily care. They're getting paid by the hour.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They don't really care if you sound the best, so that you can promote it.
Yeah, but I would fight that if time is money, and the difference between a demo and a master is time, then I don't know. Then they're missing out on giving you the time to make a product better. That's too bad.
Well, and then it goes back onto track record. Right. Like, oh yeah, I helped produce some of these songs, and I think the producers are they care a lot more than somebody that's just in the studio sometimes.
Right.
Yeah, but we're not gonna. I mean, we're not here to tell you how to do what you do best. We're here to help you where you tell us is your weak point.
So it's kind of like you identify what I'm doing, and then you help me brand myself for what I'm trying to do.
For your goal, your specific goal.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
One thing, stepping back to, this is something I learned in publishing and licensing that no one really talks about is, I don't know, are we running out of time? Because I don't want to...
Keep going.
Okay. So there's kind of a game there, and it's a numbers game. Publishers want to have the biggest library. They want to have as many up-and-coming songwriters, people they think are going to take off, and they want to get their music in their libraries. And they're not there to promote the artist as much as they're waiting for the artist to become famous on their own, and then someone to call them, and they'll say, oh yeah, I do have that artist. That's kind of the game that we don't really get to see as artists. So they're not necessarily going to be behind you working to push your image as much as they're waiting for you to do that on your own, as they're collecting the next big thing and the next big thing and the next big thing. Because they're going to win in the end, they've got the most numbers. Whereas you're just the one songwriter, you've got your 10 songs, It's a bigger gamble for you. So if you want someone to push your music as a publisher or licensor, that's something you're really going to have to trust your intuition, your gut, and their track record and the people that you know around them to be able to let you know, have they actually gotten placements? Are they going to really, really work for you? And even when you get that deal, you're going to want to make sure your brand is still on target.
So anyway, our rule is generally we pretty much try to start and end on time. You're more than welcome to hang out, chit chat. I don't think it's too much.
Oh, we love to talk.
If you need to leave, please feel free to do so.
And we have these little cards too. If you want to get in touch with us, we're going to have time to talk, fill it out, we'll contact you.
Okay?
Thank you, guys.